All right, everyone, welcome once again to the Faces of Business. I'm your host, Damon Pistolka, and with me, I have none other than the manufacturing unicorn, Ray Ziganto.
Hey,
Ray,
Damon.
welcome.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Oh man, it's awesome to have you. I just when we talk, it's just I just enjoy it so much because when your background and the experience you have not only in U.S. manufacturing but setting up facilities, running global operations.
Yeah.
It's just a treat to be able to talk with someone like yourself with the
Well, thanks,
experience
man.
you have and what you've been able to do and what you still are doing with manufacturing. So thanks for being here.
My pleasure, Damon. Thank you.
Well, it's really been an interesting past year and a half or so.
You think?
Let's see. It seems like a year and a half, but it's
Right.
only been a little over a year now since we decided that the world was going to slow down a little bit and change.
Dog year.
Yeah. There you go. It's a dog year. We'll just do that. But I thought it'd be interesting for us to talk, get on today and really talk about some of the opportunities that have opened up in manufacturing and some of the challenges that we're still seeing in manufacturing. Some because of COVID, just some because of normal economic change. And I think it'll be fun to talk about a few of those.
Sure.
Yeah.
Happy to help. Let's jump in, man.
So if you can first of all tell people that may not have heard a little bit about your background, so we can kind of set the stage with that.
Sure. I came up in what I thought was I still believe is the coolest part of manufacturing. A lot of job shops, that type of stuff. So my background has been in and out of business development and operations and overall leadership of job shops, small and large. I'm talking startups. I've started them up. I've run 1,500 person organizations domestically and internationally. And when I say job shop, I'm talking tooling intensive, custom parts and assemblies. So, molding, stamping with automation and the tooling that goes along with that. So I've been around that my entire career. I'm an engineer by osmosis. I've just been around technical stuff and have a passion and a knack for it, but I know when to shut the hell up when the engineers are in the room. So I can, I definitely know how to encourage it and keep the conversation going. But been awesome for the last 4 years. Been on my own consulting firm. I'm in a position now where I can help more companies than just spend 100 hours a week working for the four walls that happen to be responsible for my paycheck. And it's been awesome to see so much stuff, so much diverse activity, different industries, different parts of the world. And the good news is manufacturing is alive and well, and there's a lot of opportunities.
Yeah. I think you're exactly right. I mean, I get more excited about it every day almost. And I think that in some ways, COVID actually helped U.S. manufacturing concerns in just pointing out some of the challenges in a global supply chain and some of the need for a global supply chain. On the converse of that,
Yep.
So
no, I see it 100%, and it's kind of a stimulus response type thing. I've felt for some time, and don't get me wrong, I am absolutely pro U.S. manufacturing, buy American, but I'm a business guy too.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the U.S. manufacturers that have clients here, those clients probably do business internationally as well. Yep. So why wouldn't you follow them? Is kind of the number one thing. But as far as COVID kind of being a shot in the arm, pardon the bad pun, for manufacturers, frankly, I think U.S. manufacturing has needed some sort of a slap upside the head for a while. I think we've sat back. We let some stuff get away from us, and I think those companies that were doing well were kind of again. It's easy if things are going okay. What's your motivation to to drive really substantial change in your organization? So while the human toll of COVID has been terrible. And certainly on the business side, there have been, many losses that are terrible as well. Many manufacturers have jumped on the opportunity to figure out, okay, we're resource constrained. Now what? And that's really when manufacturers are at their best. When an external force, whether that's a customer, geopolitics, or a pandemic, tells them that you can no longer do things, the natural response is a little bit like, well, hold my beer,
Yeah.
and it's stuck. It's been like that long enough that those new habits and routines have stuck. And I think many of them are good. I think there's been some good to come out of it. So
yeah, I laugh because manufacturing guys know what hold my beer means. Oh, so funny. Well, we got Rodney. Thanks for listening, Rodney. Rodney's works with a manufacturer over here in Washington, and we've got there are a lot of opportunities if you can get enough material, and I know that the raw material prices in steel, aluminum, and the metal goods have gone up like crazy, and continuing to go up.
Oh yeah, it's brutal, and part of it's the downside of as you talked about earlier, the supply chains. In some instances, we've leaned them out too much.
Yeah.
And there are certain areas that need a little more purposeful management. That doesn't necessarily mean gobs of governmental intervention, but I think there are some lessons learned. Hey, every time there's a typhoon or an earthquake somewhere, every purchasing person around the world goes nuts. When the dust settles, then they're tasked with, how do we make sure this doesn't happen again? So unfortunately, we're living through a period of, as Rodney mentioned, it's like, man, we could do so much more if we could just get if you could get it, never mind that you got to pay through the nose, to get it. But in a lot of places, man, we're restarting significant parts of economies and industries that are getting back to work. The shipping challenges that are out there, the logistics issue, freight costs are up, like 3,000% or something ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Anybody that's shipping anything, a UPS or FedEx kind of thing now is crazy, because the e-commerce demand during COVID drove their, way through the roof in capacity. I've actually got a neighbor that has a couple FedEx routes, and he said it was like Christmas every day.
Oh yeah. Oh.
and the Christmas season in delivery business is like you don't want that to be all year round.
Right.
It's so busy, and that kind of change drove the shipping prices up on everything. That's for sure.
Yeah, all of that went nuts. There's no question about it. And it's tough. Different industries are getting hit different ways. I have a client in the aerospace industry. I work everything from medical device, people that are doing industrial hardware type stuff. Aerospace, you talk to those guys, getting a titanium forging that has a normal lead time of a year. In my mind, I'm like, the hell takes a year? But it's like, it's a different industry. So the whole cadence with which you're, setting up your supply chain management process, and there are definitely some new dimensions that got added to it in the last year. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. There's no doubt about that. And only in aerospace really do you find lead times like that. Because I used to run a company where we made F-22 parts, and just getting the titanium it was 50 some week lead time on it. And then it didn't always make it.
And in the intervening 52 weeks, you've got the customer moving it in, moving it out. Moving it out. It's like.
So that was always good. Well, the thing that's interesting is now, someone just sent me an article yesterday. It was talking about the manufacturing demand is up, and I think that while that's probably true or could be true, I don't know 100% on that. We were talking before we got on, but that's something that's happened time and time again. We see these peaks and valleys in the way.
That's what, when I was, coming up in the industry, I'd see, you'd start out, you come out of school, it's like, boy, things are going great. It's going to be a straight line. It's going to be like this forever. And there'd be a guy that looked like me going, just wait, just wait and see. And if you're around long enough, you do see things, go up and go down. The circumstances are a little different this time around. COVID was a weird one because it was a very uneven impact in the manufacturing sector. The recession 2008, 2009 took everybody off a cliff. This time it's been different. If you're supporting, hospitality, restaurants, that got dicey.
Yeah, you got hammered. Yeah,
those guys got killed. Anybody involved in packaging went through the roof.
Yep.
Even the automobile business. If you had the ability to still work from home, you're still buying stuff.
Yeah.
If anything, you went online, e-commerce went nuts.
Yes.
So I talked to people that have had record years. It's crazy at the outset. Everybody was
you are exactly right, and I feel for the people that were in hospitality and travel and those other ones that got hammered, and I feel for them. I don't work with clients like that, and my clients were on the other end of that spectrum. They did 50+% growth last year because they were in e-commerce or they were manufacturing something they could sell online, like you said, and it was in demand. A home product. I mean, if you went into a Lowe's or a Home Depot anytime in the last 10 months, what people are doing. They're working on their homes. They're putting you can't even hardly buy stuff in there because they're so busy.
Right.
And
exactly.
So you go all the way back to supply chain and where that stuff's manufactured. Those people are busy.
Yeah. Well, part of it too is those seasonal things. What they're pulling in now got produced, the spring stuff, what's their schedule? How do they cycle that?
Yeah.
Most of those guys are probably just about wrapping up what they're going to produce and ship for spring and summer. It's coming out of warehouses because, they don't do that JIT.
No.
So a year and a half ago or whatever, somebody based on, past projections and everything said, well, let's build 5% more than we did last year or something. Look at housing.
Yeah.
That's on fire. You can't get lumber. The average cost to build a home right now is another $25,000 just because of lumber. There you go.
Yeah, he says the price has tripled. Yeah, go buy a 2x4 now.
Oh man.
I was actually that's funny because I was going to go and buy some specialty lumber, and because I needed, I don't know, whatever, a 2x4 piece of cedar, right? A clear cedar. Mm-hmm. And I think the last time I bought it was $50. So that's going to be, that was a long time ago. So it's going to be expensive now.
You'll fill out a credit app.
Yeah. There we go.
Bring a bank app.
Yeah. Bring a bank reference, letter for your line of credit. Oh, wow. Right. But it's crazy how some of the industries really have just taken off and are seeing unprecedented sales, unprecedented profits. While the other ones where it was face-to-face business was being done really got hammered pretty bad.
Well, and it pivoted there too. The people that were able to adapt to that, again, blame Jeff Bezos and Amazon, but we are all in a world now where we expect kind of that Amazon Prime experience in everything that we're doing. It's not just B2C, B2B is becoming like that. And even if you are in, and perhaps especially if you are in an engineered products, type of environment, because our friend Allison DeFord, the usual suspects that you talk with, tell you that so much of the buying decision happens. There's about 70% of it happens before they ever even reach out to the company. Mm-hmm. So how are you showing up, out there to even be present? If you're still of the mind that, well, my sales guys can't travel, my customers won't let them in the lobby, therefore we can't sell, you're circling the drain. You're wrong. You are absolutely wrong, and we can prove it.
I think, man, I love that because it is so true, and you're getting killed by people that you don't even know because they're not around the corner. I mean, the supply chain or suppliers across the U.S., yes, there's some stuff that you're not going to ship a long ways, but the vast majority of it couldn't be shipped significant distance if it's the right supplier and it's they're doing things the right way, and that supplier is marketing better than you, is getting in front of those customers better than you. And if you think your salespeople are going to be able to do that, they can't do it alone.
No. And the whole dynamic has changed. man, I've seen this coming for a long time, even back when I was, running the big job shop. In those environments, you used to talk about the two types of salespeople you have out in the field. You got a hunter and you got a farmer. And the reality is, in the engineered components world, you don't need as many salespeople as you used to, because so much of the relationship and the real revenue generation. I'm not talking the break down the door and go secure the new client. I mean the kind of, work through the organization you're already in, happens in customer service, happens in program management, happens on the logistics side. It's shifted inside organizations. There's a guy out there right now, and I wish I could remember his name. When I think of it, I'll share it with you. But he's built a business around the fact that it's like your operations is really what's responsible for revenue generation. Think about that for a minute. They're not talking about new customer acquisition, but it's wringing the most out of the business you already have. And I see it every day with every client that I talk to. The first place we want growth. We want to go somewhere. Let's, what's it going to take to go get 100 new customers, right now? And the first question you ask is, what do you know about your existing customer base? We've been with them for 30 years. They love us. How do we get to the new ones? And I'm like, what are you, a long distance company? You treat the new customers better than the old ones? So you start doing some analysis, and honest to God, I haven't seen a manufacturing company yet that doesn't have another 20% worth of growth sitting in customers they already have.
Yeah.
They never looked at it.
Yeah.
They never really dug into it.
Yep. It is so much easier. And Ronnie brought this up too. It says internal growth is better than banging on doors. It's 100% because they know you already. And more than likely, you're not a single source supplier anymore. I mean, that was many years ago. They got that out, that you had to have multiple sources for everything. And that's fine and good, but it doesn't mean that you can't be like 95% and now you're 80% or something like that.
Exactly. Well, to Rodney's point, I think you need a little bit of both, but here's another area a lot of manufacturers have a problem with math. Again, in the spirit of they get not talked into, but they see what's possible on social media now that everybody's got access to it. For basically the price of your cable bill, you can be out and have a presence, and be doing something, and you fall victim to the likes, and the responses. And I got 1,000 likes. Big deal. The unit of measure that matters, is dollars.
Yeah.
Where manufacturers have a math problem, especially in the custom component side, you don't need 1,000 new customers.
Nope.
You probably need 3, maybe 5. And you'll double your business
exactly
in 3 to 5 years. Now, to Rodney's point, who should be making those calls? Who's got the best business card in the company? When I was, president and CEO of a company, I could get a meeting anywhere.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And as a recovering sales guy, that made me feel good,
Yeah.
So that's who needs to be on the point of the sword, building relationships for down the road. Because when they need to, when it's time for bringing in that next supplier, that new one, you're the first one they think of.
That's a good point, because that is one of the things that I know a lot of, and I'm not saying this because they're small, but the entrepreneurial business owner that started this business, it might be $10, $15 million, even $20 million now. They've gotten away from that sales part of it because they never really liked it. That's what they didn't get into business to be a salesperson. They got into business to have a business, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, they are the best door opener.
Yeah. There's no question. That always helps. It's even if you just bring them with, if the sales guy brings them with, or however you want to do it. Hey, whenever we had company tours, we loved having visitors, come to the facility. I don't care who it was, what time it was. I want to meet them. I want to be there in the first part of the meeting. I want to be there at the very end of the meeting, see what, how's it going? What's going on? But it's like, you have to play a role in that. You really do.
That's a great point. It's a great point because, it is really, it's giving that customer that added attention that makes a difference in the long run.
Yep. Yep.
That's a great point, because it's and you're to your point earlier too. One of the things that we need to, as leaders in manufacturing, I believe too, is make sure that everyone in the company knows how critical they are to the sales process with existing customers and everything they do. I mean, because if you've got a delivery driver out, running out, dressed like a slob, driving like crap, all that stuff are going to look just as bad as your salesperson not doing the right job, or a customer service person not being polite on the phone, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we're all salespeople at the end of the day.
Yep.
And I think.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it reminds me, I think Ben Baker says, everybody follows Ben. It's like, your brand and your reputation is only as good as your most pissed off employee on their worst day.
Yeah. That's it.
I've had that, and I've gotten calls from, Fortune 500, the receiving department at a Fortune 500 customer that opened up a box, and on the bottom, was somebody, got pissed off at one of our facilities and had a pastry down there, and it's like, I'm not sure how to quantify or qualify, this type of contaminant.
Yeah.
It's like, well, looks like a bear claw to me.
Yeah.
So, but it's everybody. It's not a department. It's the whole company.
Yeah. And I think the owners, the managers, presidents, all of them need to let people know that, because I think as an executive in a company, it's easy because you're in that role all the time.
Yeah.
But when you're not, you forget about it. You're working around people, you're real comfortable around them every day. Yeah. It's a little different situation. I think that it just by taking those added steps. Yeah. And I think that when I look at different industries, because I get to do like you do, I get to float in different industries. And when you look at some of these industries, and I don't even work in it hardly at all, honestly, anymore, but the restaurant industry, good restaurants, the difference between a good restaurant and a bad restaurant is all in the people, and how the people are taught, how they're trained, how it's reinforced. It's not that the food's you can have crap, and you can have mediocre food and still sell the hell out of it in a restaurant if the people are great. They it's like, oh, you came back again, you're wonderful seeing you again, Ray. Awesome, the last time you were here we had such a great time, blah 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 blah. And that kind of thing makes such a difference, that the meal itself is just an afterthought.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the whole, people remember how you treat them.
Yes.
That's it comes down to, how do you do that? And in a digital age, how do you do that?
Yeah.
And that's part of the learning, and the chicken's face, hey, I grew up around, and came up in business on the manufacturing side. And I laugh at, the curmudgeons, that I've worked along with, and it's, you joke about it and stuff like that. And at the heart of it, they're awesome. They're awesome people, but it's like, building that bridge and making them comfortable, getting out there, because it's a different world, but it's a bigger world.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, it should be, it's kind of aligning itself right where the manufacturers, even if you are that crusty engineer, well, I don't want to go meet with anybody. Well, what if we just created a way where you could swap really cool ideas back and forth with other engineers? Well, that'd be all right. It's like,
there you go.
My dad help you? Let's call it what you want, your idea, and
and
move forward from there.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great example of it too. And I think it really is a big world. And and when we talk about big world, it's a global world now. And I think that there's companies now like Alibaba that are looking for U.S. manufacturers that want to sell internationally. I mean, you've got a fair amount of international experience. Yeah. And what do you think there? Do you think that we've got an opportunity in the next few years to really increase our overall offshore sales?
There's a huge opportunity for that, because what the barriers historically for international type business have used, in my experience, they've been based on, it's been bad information, You know, somebody knew a guy once who tried to sell something somewhere and had a bad experience. He's never doing that again. So, okay. So therefore it becomes, you know, it's industry lore.
Yeah.
That this is what was going on.
Yeah.
Even if you get past that, then there's the perception, oh, I got to hire attorneys and, you know, accountants. And, you know, this is, you know, the language barrier, you know, it's everything's a cost and a barrier. And for a period of time, it was, you know, hey, it was expensive.
Yeah.
You know, I can, you know, in my career, I remember it, you know, going from, hey, this is probably going to be a 6-figure to start, maybe an overall 7-figure investment if we want to actually have assets on the ground and stuff like that. And then all the air travel back and forth because we couldn't do stuff like this.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's really changed. Our ability to facilitate outreach, our ability to have an access to platforms like Alibaba is incredible. Our ability to transact, you know, business internationally, our ability to market, you know, all of those things. There's so much of that stuff that can happen. Yeah, eventually you got to get on the ground at some point, but so much of it can happen virtually, and you know, a lot of it can get put in place along the way. And if you're operating under the assumption that, well, you know, I'm too small to do this, you know, I'm you know, $10 million or maybe less. You know, I've got examples of companies that are doing it both on the supply chain side and on the new market penetration side that, you know, 20 years ago, you just said, are you nuts? You know, there's a company right now, my friend Tom Hilaris, look up a company called ErgoSeal. ErgoSeal, family-owned business, second generation. And Tom has done some fantastic things, not bootstrapping, but just think about it and go find resources that can help you do it. And there are so many available. So yeah, there's a lot of perceptions that need to get out of the way, and there's huge upside.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it a little bit. I think that overall now, because of the digital influence and the way that we have to change our marketing in manufacturing and really in all business, the amount of digital outreach that we have to do, expanding our geographical coverage, really isn't that difficult comparatively.
It's not a big deal. It's so different. My gosh, 20 some years ago when I was last company I was with, when I first joined, about $50 million in revenue at the time, had facilities in, where were they? They were in Singapore at the time, and they were in Scotland. And even with that footprint, between going to the facilities and going to see customers, we were spending $1 million a year on air travel.
Yeah,
you know, moving people around. Now it's like there's just so much you can accomplish. You know, it's I can have you on the screen. Hey, turn on the camera on the CMM. I want to see you inspecting that mold real time and see what we're getting. Or take me out to the shop floor. You know, you said you're getting flash somewhere. You know, where is that? Or you know, let me see how that stamping press is hitting. You know, there's just so much you can do, or pull the data real time. You don't have to anymore. You know, it's really. I think it's taken a lot of the slack out of the system. Zoom wasn't invented last year. It's just there was an alternative. Air flights were cheap, so why not get on a plane? You know.
Well, a lot of it was habit. People thought that they needed to do that, but you know, within a business, if I'm used to, I've got this bit of travel I do every month. That's what I do. Blah blah blah. You do that. Your salespeople are doing it. Blah blah blah. Everybody just gets used to it. And really, what I think the last year has taught us is that, hey, it doesn't have to be that way. And when you look at some of the things that COVID forced us, the video, I think that it can revolutionize some things about support, about, you know, you just think of maintenance, right? You know, I've run this, like some of the stuff like you, where you've got these big $1 million CNC machining centers sitting here running. When that damn thing stops, it's not a pleasant sight.
Right.
And if you had to, in the old days, you have to wait for the technician to get on a plane, come out, come in and fix it. Well, now what do you do? Like you said, you plug it in, you get someone with an iPad, and they can FaceTime them on the damn thing.
Right.
And you got a technician on your end, of course, because you're not going to have that kind of equipment without somebody that can fix it. And they're sitting there diagnosing it. That guy did not leave his home, and he didn't have to wait 36 hours or whatever the heck it took them to get on and get a flight. If you're lucky, if there's someone sitting there that can come and fix it, it gets fixed fairly quickly that way.
And, you bring up a good point, because there's still this hesitancy among manufacturers, same reasons, to begin, and maybe it's a language thing, but whether you want to call it industrial IoT or industry 4.0 or whatever, the censoring that you're talking about. Yeah, there was a time when if you weren't making Rolls-Royce jet engines, or you weren't, Amazon's, that type of thing, okay, it was pretty pricey to get involved in. But to do basic condition monitoring on a machine shop floor, to understand and do something about your micro stoppages that might be occurring. I go in machine shops all the time that might have 10 machines. Some of them have 100. Well, if you picked up half an hour, a week or an hour a week across 100 machines, what did that just do for you?
Yeah.
How much do those things cost? So it's going after those things. The tools exist. They're not scary. They're not expensive.
Yeah.
And there's an abundance of people that are dying to teach you how to use it.
Yeah.
In your factory. So.
Yeah. That's for sure. And that's a cool opportunity, I think, because when you look at some of the stuff that can happen, and you're right. If you're in a machine intensive like CNC machining, your green light time is crucial. I mean, that's was one of the measures I used in actually a few businesses I ran, is, in a sheet metal fabrication facility, it's the punch of the lasers. How many hours did you run on them? And I ran a company that we made checkout counters for grocery stores. Well, they were all CNC routed out of wood. How many hours did we put in the CNC routers? Because it's simple. You find your bottleneck and you measure how much you do that. And in the CNC machining centers, it was green light time. And you go, okay, how much money did we make this week? Well, how many hours did we run? And it's that simple. And you increase that on any of those levels, you've increased your productivity.
Yeah. As long as you're building the right thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because I've been in shops where it's like, gee, we run our OEEs at 75. How come we're losing money?
Yeah.
It's like, look at your inventory.
Yeah. Scrap out the back or build the wrong stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, you still have to be smart building the right stuff and doing that. But it is. And I think that you're right. The IoT stuff that can help understand these little things anymore, because as we talked about before we got on, there are not very many, if any, silver bullets left in these manufacturers that you're going to go, oh, we just gained 20% efficiency in what we're doing. It's not like that. You have to find the percent here and the percent there and percent there that eventually will add up to 20.
Exactly right, to get to those step changes. But part of it is sometimes you got to throw out what's that thing, an audacious hairy ass goal. We got to figure this out, because if you don't draw a line in the sand that initially gets everybody going, are you nuts? And it's like, nope. And that's where the boss has to step in.
You do.
We can do this, or I'm going to take away half your hours. You have to create that constraint. But we have to figure it out, and here's why. What's missing a lot of times is, well, I'm going to pull the rug out from under you, and I'm not going to tell you why. Is the thing. I used to see it all the time with engineering departments. It's like, for an engineering department to be at their best needs to be slightly overloaded. It's like if they go through a slow period and then the work piles back up, and you don't constrain the hours, you'll never get anything done. It just won't happen. It's human nature. You gotta kind of get them back into the fighting mode, to get stuff out the door. It's just
that's for sure. And it is. And I think that when There is a tremendous amount of opportunity even in mature businesses to rethink what you do. And as you talk about, I still think that just about any business can find 25, 30% productivity improvement, cost reduction, whatever you want to talk about. But it's not going to come by how you do the work. It's going to come by, we're going to have to look at everything. We're going to have to redesign the way that we build something, the way it's manufactured, the way that it's packaged, all the way through one way, end to end. And you can do that even on some more commodity products. I think there are ways to do that, but it will take some additional effort.
Well, and what they have to look at is those organizations. It's like, we're making money hand over fist. We've got this awesome, we've got this new widget. Man, I had an econ professor in college that said profits attract a crowd.
Yeah.
And he's right. It's like sooner or later, somebody's going to look and go, how come these guys, you can be sole sourced for a while if you've got the better mousetrap, but you also better be good at constantly reinventing mousetraps.
Mm-hmm.
That's the right plural. That has to be part of the business, because if you're a one-trick pony, somebody else is going to figure it out in a hurry. Why? Profits attract a crowd. Somebody's coming after you.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And I think that the best companies understand that, and they're always doing that, innovating, innovating even what looks as the same product, innovating how they're doing it, because you're right. Profits attract lazy attitudes, and I don't know any better way to say it. When you're fat and happy, hey, everybody's happy, owners happy, shareholders, whatever, you got it, and life is good. And if the executives, the people that are in charge of the company, are not giving people the incentive, the motive, the motivation, the challenge to continue to improve, it's real easy to get fat and lazy.
Oh, exactly. And, one of the best ways, hey, the first thing everybody looks is how well paid and the benefits and all that. That's nice, but I've known people making a shit ton of money, leave somewhere because the organization wasn't, they didn't like it. It didn't feel right, whatever.
Yeah.
An important thing, especially in the manufacturing space, with your technical staff, it's like, man, give them something to tinker with. I think in some cases that's one of the lost arts, is, especially within a business, it's, find that skunk works thing. And I'm not saying you got to be, Hewlett Packard or, Steve Jobs or, any of those things, but some of the most awesome innovations and the new things I've ever been able to bring to customers started with really small investments.
Yeah.
First it's creating an environment where the people with the creative ideas are comfortable enough going forward saying, hey, look what I put together on my lunch break. Wouldn't this be neat?
Yeah.
And then when you come back to them and say, what do you think you could do with $500, and a McMaster car catalog, or whatever. And say, well, I could do it. Let's see what happens. Before you know it, you really got something to talk about,
That is so true. It is so true, because giving people ownership and allowing them to express themselves in that way engages them fully, mind and body. And when you get that entire engagement from someone, it is so much better for them. And it's better for the company. Exactly. It's better for everyone around them. And that driving that innovation is not going to happen by staying in the same lane. No. It's not. You have to let people veer off in a controlled environment to the extent that you want them to, to do that stuff, because, they didn't come up with the damn cell phone by keeping it stuck to a landline. Right. It's not, you got to let people do what they're going to do, and let them express that. And that's a great point, and it is simple. It is simple. And it's allowing and challenging people to do it.
And it can come from anywhere. There's so much. I've seen more businesses brought to their knees because they never thought outside the box about automating just where and how you're getting reporting about what's going on the shop floor. Well, we've always done it on the yellow cards where we record by hand production, and then we key it in and everything like that. It's like, I know that's how we've always done it, but by the time I get it and analyze it, whatever bad thing that happened is a day behind me, and it might still be going on, so again, innovation can come from anywhere in the organization, and you've got to find a mechanism to allow it to come out. Not everything is a moonshot, you know what I mean? But it's some of those incremental things, and the more you encourage it, believe me, you're going to come up with some moonshots along the way.
That's for sure. That's for sure. It's good stuff. And I laugh when you say that about the cards, because that's one of the earlier companies that I ran. They did that. Everybody there's 200 and some employees, and every one of them had to fill out a job card every day. And I'm like, why do we do this? Well, we do this because we key in this numbers in, and we get all this, and we know exactly how many hours we put into a job. They said, okay, show me what we do with that information. And we ran the reports. They run the reports. So we give these reports to people so they can look at them. And then I go, okay, I went to who gets the reports, and I was one of them that got the reports, and I knew I didn't look at that damn thing. Right. And they said, well, these people, you can look at the reports and you can decide what you want to do. I said, no, we're going to stop running them. We're going to stop taking it. We're going to stop keeping that number. And everybody from the accountants all the way through said, what are you going to do? I said, it's real simple. At the end of the week, we're going to figure out how much we sold and how much we spent in labor. I said, that gives me the same number, right?
Without all of this.
Yeah. They said, well, you're not going to know what it was on every job. I said, I don't care. If that number's right, I'm good. Yeah. If I can make that number better, I'm even better.
Yeah.
I don't have to know that. If that starts going haywire, we'll find out what job it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's some of these things, like you said, it's re-looking at things almost with childlike eyes and wondering why, asking why are we doing it?
We get stuck into it's just human nature, but you're absolutely right. At some point, if you don't stop and ask why is this system still here? Because everything's, if you absolutely positively have to have it, can we automate it? Yes. Because I'm sure right after you said, stop recording these daily reports, somebody pulled back a curtain and it was like Raiders of the Lost Ark. You saw all these boxes because we've got to keep these in case somebody wants to go back to 1978.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah. I laugh at that too. I'm one of those guys that throws away everything you don't need. If you don't need it, it goes out. I took that whole 5S stuff pretty seriously when we started that in the 80s and just kept right on going. So, good stuff. Well, I think that really the one thing that I want us to touch on quickly before we wrap up here, Ray, is, to me, it seems like while COVID caused some things globally, for manufacturers, this is really just another normal cyclical change that we've seen over and over again. But I wanted to get your take on that.
Yeah, I think COVID kind of hit us with, I face it, it's unexpected, it's unprecedented. You can go back to 1917, 18, whatever. But yeah, it's an unusual event, but I think, again, the lessons learned have been, I think it's done nothing but help manufacturers kind of fine tune it. It helped them get digital in a hurry.
Yeah.
I've got one of the people I follow, Anna Shedletsky, has a company called Instrumental. And they're talk about right product at the right time. They do automated optical inspection tied to artificial intelligence, and basically allows engineers to do product development and production optimization long distance.
Wow.
And when COVID first hit, leading edge, big brain type stuff, when COVID first hit, she said, in the next 18 months, we're going to see 5 years worth of innovation get put into place in manufacturing. And she's right. Absolutely right. Because it was a crisis of sufficient magnitude that hit close to home, where it was a hold your beer moment, where it's like, we either lean into this thing or we're going to get swept away. So now they're leaning into it. Now, now we're getting pissed about it. It's like, I need more labor. I need more material. We can do more. That's awesome.
Yeah.
These are awesome problems to have. Build on them. build on those things. Yeah, it's creating a lot of work, and it seems unnecessary, but there's still so much learning going on and evolving. We're just doing it at a faster pace right now, which in my mind, manufacturing needed that shot in the arm. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, just like anything, it's like I said, if your profits are good, the incentive to change is not really that high, or the level's not that high. Yeah. And I think this brought awareness. Yeah. I think the digital change that has been forced on manufacturers is healthy, because you're going to die whether you know it or not, because your buying base is now not, people that are our age. They're people that are much younger than us, that they're going to go online and do a lot more searching before they go and reach out to you. And if you're the job shop that's got the old website that says, hey, look at my sheet metal fabrication place, that I've got these 17 machining machines, and I've got this kind of lathe and this, that, that's all it shows. It's like, hey, that doesn't help me a hell of a lot. I'm a medical product manufacturer that's looking for this kind of ... And if you don't speak to me, I'm going to the person that does.
Exactly. And for those, the fab shops, the short one, there's people out there that are purposefully going for the low volume, high mix side of things. And which on the one hand, if you look at manufacturing in the traditional sense, my God, to set up all of those customers, because I'm going to need to have thousands of customers to ever achieve any volume. Completely different. It's very much, hey, upload your drawing. We'll go through it, give you a quote. Drop your credit card. Here comes your part. They've automated that whole. So it's like, no, I don't have to have a call center on staff, on standby waiting to handle up. Look at Proto Labs. Look at what those. That's the future of a lot of stuff that's going on. I'm not saying everybody is going to be in that model. I guarantee there are going to be aspects of it you better have in place.
Yeah, you hit it in the head, because listen, someone that's going to want a one-off of something doesn't care if that is $75 or $175. They don't care. And if you set your back of your facility up well enough that, listen, it doesn't matter what it's, if it's out of a similar material, I should be able to put that one through my process just like all the other ones right around it. Yes, there's some setup, there's a little this and that, but if you do it right, it flows through. Certainly not enough to make that unprofitable doing that work.
Yeah, exactly.
Start
with the journey your customer expects, and work back from there. That's your business model.
That's
it. Quit trying to jam yours down their throat. They don't want it.
They want to buy what they want, when they want it, when they want it.
Exactly.
Amazon.
That's it.
That's it. I just want to say real quick, we got Jenny who's listening to us. Thanks a lot for listening, Jenny. Jenny's got a cool a welding place in Iowa. So
awesome.
Hey,
anybody that's out there, connect. Find me on LinkedIn. I'm easy to find. I love talking manufacturing. I promise, no pitch. I just love talking shop. So hit me up anytime. If you ever need my help, we can talk about that separately. But I just love talking shop. So.
It's awesome to have you on, Ray, and I just appreciate the opportunity, and I'm excited. I mean, I'm always excited, but I think this is going to be really a fun time for manufacturers to rethink how we do things, and also I think. For me, being a little bit grayer than I was, 20 years ago, this is fun because we're teaching younger people now how to do this and what they can do and how to really expand their mind with what they know and what we know, and putting that together.
I love it. It's like, I'm so pleased. Like you, I'm not done with my career.
And hell no.
Thank goodness along the way, I've always had an appreciation for picking up new tricks. So we might be becoming old dogs, but it's like, man, we got some game.
We're still going.
We got some games. So
Good stuff. Well, awesome, Ray, thanks so much for being here. Thanks everyone for listening. Again, for the Faces of Business, I'm your host, Damon Postolka with Eggs Your Way, and Ray Ziganto here. Catch Ray on LinkedIn. Catch him on MFG OutLoud. Good there too. Him and Allison DeFord. And if you aren't already thinking about tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, we've got Yobert Abram, I believe his last name, is going to be talking about LinkedIn and LinkedIn Navigator and LinkedIn Ads on our Manufacturing E-commerce Success Series with Kurt Anderson and myself. Yeah. So tune in for that. Should be a good time there. Yeah, well. And just so happy, everyone. Have a great evening. And if you don't hear from me before, have an awesome weekend. It's springtime. Let's get out there and enjoy that weather.
How about it?